racing immediately. But a champion becomes a legend. McKinney Diva wins it again.
Yes, yes, yes! Wins the Everest. Glen Boss wins another big one.
Who's the Boss? A really special guest today. Best jockey in the world. It's hard to argue right now. And I'm not just talking about Glen Boss alongside me, Adam Peacock. Bossy, happy to have this guy next to us today.
Yeah, mate, I'm about 20% of this bloke. I wished I could be that good. But, yeah, sitting next to JMac, it's a privilege, actually, because we go back a long way. And I've watched his journey and watched him evolve into what I said 5 years ago, long time ago, this will be the world's best jockey, before anyone even thought about that. And he's accomplished that feat twice in the last 4 or 5 years.
James McDonald, welcome to Who's the Boss. How are you, mate?
Eds. Yeah, no, it's good. Really good. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
How are you, mate?
Not bad. We're just exhausted.
Yeah, I know you would be because
yeah.
it's very taxing what you've been doing in the last, especially the last 3 months has been pretty taxing.
Probably the last 2 years,
Yep.
but probably this year was really blowing up due to the fact that we went to the Middle East 3 times and then Hong Kong every basically second week. So it's pretty full on, but maintained a pretty good level and enjoyed it, but definitely coming to the end of it, especially the sleeping patterns.
Yeah, I know.
Just exhausting.
It looks good from the outside, doesn't it? Like people go, oh, look at him jet setting around the world, but it is so taxing. You know, the taxing part is, you know, getting yourself prepared, getting on the flight, waiting, getting on the plane's the easy part. But then your sleep patterns, and you get in there and you have to perform at a high level, then you come home and you have to straight back into it.
I reckon if I was 53 kilos, I'd do it a lot easier. But because you have to get there, maintain a certain weight, obviously do all the research from different horses and riders, etc. It's full on. It's just not like here in Sydney. You know every horse off by heart. You know every jockey. It's a lot easier. But it's been tough but enjoyable at the same time, and I wouldn't swap it for anything. I'm pretty lucky to be riding those good horses overseas, and but yeah, it's definitely coming to the end of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's not like you're going over there to ride benchmark 72s.
No.
You're going over there in high pressure environment, so the adrenaline takes you up. But I'm guessing off the back of that, the adrenaline, that adrenaline goes, and then you have to pick yourself up again and do it again.
100%. And I think like you're coming back from, great example was winning in Dubai on Romantic, and I caught a midnight flight or 1 o'clock a.m. flight to Dubai time to come home. I didn't sleep for the first few hours because I was that hyped up of having a bit of luck there, and then coming back, landing on Monday, riding Wednesday at, it could have been Warwick Farm or something like that. Yeah, so it's like it's the ups and downs, and you still got to maintain a certain level on a Wednesday to when you're riding in Dubai or Saudi or Hong Kong. So
because for those owners, it means as much for them.
100%.
Mate, the flip side is you can just, open up the old banking app and go, oh yeah, and then open up the frequent flyers app and go, oh yeah, and then that gets you on the holiday.
Is the frequent flyers, and my wife's Caitlin's got the bank account.
Yeah, I don't think that's one thing that you look at because it's not what drives your boat,
it doesn't
is
at
it?
all. No. I really enjoy success and the prestige of it. Hence why I really love England or Royal Ascot. Yeah. Even just competing there, even if you win a race at Royal Ascot, it means so much. And the adrenaline, the feeling you get out of winning there is something that's so much better than the actual prize money itself.
And Carl Spackler, for Caddyshack fans, it means a lot as well. But I think we need to toast the recent winner of
we should toast this
Royal Ascot.
Do we need a duck here? Because I heard he's not very good at
his aim is something to keep an eye on.
I've really killed a few people in the studio.
Go that way. I'd say,
nice and
he's all over it now.
Nice and easy.
I've been practicing just for you,
JMac,
James.
you pass that one down, and
what way is that?
You know what this trophy means as well.
It's
of course.
6.
That's 03. So you can have the first one.
Yeah, I'll have the first one.
Yeah.
I'll have the middle one.
I'll have that one then. That's me.
At Flemington, but
Jeez, they're nice and shiny. I'm glad the taxi driver gave them back.
No, I know. I'll tell you what.
You've heard that story.
Like shit the other day. Like I thought it was like losing your child at a supermarket, like in a big department store.
Where's your one, James, of this from Very Elegant?
Yeah, it's at home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drink out of it, or is it used for
it's they're definitely not as shiny as this one.
I just had them all refurbed.
Refurb.
They're beauty, aren't they?
Yeah. Mate, cheers to my
Cheers.
friend.
Well
Cheers,
done.
my friend.
Cheers.
To 15 Group 1 so far this
Beauty.
season on Australian soil, 21 worldwide for James McDonald,
Yeah.
119 all up in his
Yep.
career. In sight of the Damien Oliver record, it's a question.
That's actually not bad, that.
It is. It's good, hey?
You've earned it. You've earned it.
So when you go through all the records,
Yeah.
Adam, and let's just call it as it is. When you see sort of greatness, like there's always a hint early days.
Yeah.
So when I was competing at a high level in that time, like there was all these rumours coming from New Zealand. Mick Dittman was telling me, there was a lot of people telling me there's this kid in New Zealand and he is proper. And this little 17, 18-year-old kid was over there. So people started to pay a bit of attention. And then you see when you look back now, you see the snippets of when he was riding as a little kid. But you could see
Curly
then.
hair.
Yeah, but you could see then that this was a special athlete.
Yeah.
And then he come over early days and everyone sort of took notice very quickly, you know.
When did it click for you?
I cost Bossy a Group 1.
No, you didn't.
I'm going to bring
no.
this up.
Yeah.
We've
Don't
had
worry.
we've had our fair share
How-
clashes,
you would've
but it's
been-
been good fun
You
though.
would have been 18, I reckon, eh?
I would have been either 17 or 18. It was the
Yes.
first trip really where John O'Shea gave me that give
Yeah.
a bit of a boost. And
Yeah.
So the background to it, we'll get to your background before that. But okay, now that you brought it up, 2011 Golden Rose. I had a look at the race
2011
last night.
was it? So
2011
yes,
Golden
17.
Rose.
Yeah.
You're on a horse called Fox Wedge.
Yeah,
He's
really
on this
good horse.
Gun Colt Smart
Smart
Missile.
yeah.
Favourite?
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 really proper horses in that
Oh,
race.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. Was for
there was only
small
7
field,
in it. Yeah.
It was a proper race.
So what happens at the start and what happens at about the 600,
Well,
Bossy?
when I reflect now, it was bad by me.
Nah.
But at the
Just
start,
emotion, mate.
you're hot, right? And listen, I'm the big swinging dick in town. So I'm the king, right? And this kid's walking in, and obviously
I'm shy and quiet.
I'm fearful of this kid because I know how good he is, right?
Bullshit.
So he's got me at the start. Then there was a bit of a ruckus at the 600, and my horse should have won. And
The 600 was the one. wasn't it?
Yeah, the one. But and he got to Rose Hill, and he was just young, and he got a bit lost. No
Yeah,
big deal, right?
100%.
So I've come back in. He's cost me the Golden Race, which is a significant race. And I've, in no uncertain terms, I told him to go back to New Zealand. What a kid's doing.
The saddle went flying across the room.
And you know what I mean? And the worst part about that, guys and girls, I poked the bear. I poked the bear because he's so competitive and just like driven like for success. And I'm embarrassed about that moment now because I shouldn't have done it. But it was
we all go through it.
you know.
You all go through it.
But
But you had
we
a Group
become-
1 on a platter and it was taken away.
Yeah, I
with
know.
a few
It got
But that
exceptional
happens, right?
It
That
circumstances.
hit, didn't it?
Yeah, it
was-
happens.
It does.
What
yeah.
was your version of that day?
No, it was just very green. I reckon I had, of course, John O'Shea gave me this wonderful opportunity to ride that good colt. I think I'd only ridden at Rose Hill probably several times, handful of times max, and it's a track that's it looks easy from chopper shop or above, but it's a unique, positioning wise is so important, saving ground, and I just got in his way the whole way. I would have done exactly the same thing, especially on a colt like that, who had such a high profile. Even mine was high profile as well, but yeah, just basically wherever he went, I was
In
in
my way.
my way. you
It's
know?
like a Woolworths trolley.
And when you're out of position at Rose Hill,
Yeah, it's hectic.
you just
isn't it?
did.
And the race was over very quickly. But
Yeah.
anyway, we've patched things up since then.
But when you go through something like that, early doors, when you're coming over, okay, you establish yourself as a rider in New Zealand, and then you're trying to establish yourself here. You've got a good ride for a great trainer in John O'Shea. And then a guy who at that stage has won 3 Melbourne Cups
100%.
loses his mind at you or
No,
blows
it
off a bit of
It
steam.
was
What do you do?
intimidating. Yeah,
How do you
was,
take it?
Oh, it's very intimidating, and you can see why kids can lose confidence really quickly. But I reckon the ones that actually take it on board, learn from it really quickly, and not get down so much about it, because at the end of the day, it is a horse race. You are learning as you go along. We all make mistakes.
And James
You
is
throw
a-
Bossy on a horse now and put him in a race, you're gonna make no matter how good you are, you're gonna lose more than you win.
Yeah.
So, I reckon it was a good. There's been really really two good learning curves is probably that one. As a Rosal sort of rider, John O'Shea was so good about it, unbelievable, like father figure to me. And the other one, you probably mention it later, is the Saudi Cup. You know, so my highlight this year was riding in the Saudi Cup, and I ended up losing, but I learnt so much from that experience and from that ride as well. Fox Wedge, high profile colt. I learnt so much as well. Even though I gave it the worst steer.
But those are the moments that define you, James.
Yeah.
You're the ones that you like. You know, winning is one thing, right? You don't really learn much.
You don't learn much from winning.
It's the mistakes that you make along the way. And when I say mistakes, I was like you. Every mistake or bad decision I made was a learning curve. I actually looked at it like, okay, I learned something today. So I took a positive out of every 100%. Everything I made, every mistake. And I used to welcome sometimes those moments because I never learnt from winning. I only learnt from making errors. And those were the things that defined me to make me better.
I was speaking to Shane Dye, who's one of our greatest riders that we've ever seen. And there was a race in Hong Kong just recently. Can't remember what it was. Actually, might have been Voyage Bubble. Anyway, he said, I said, why would I have done that?
When you got up on the heels?
No. I ended up getting beat. No.
Oh, no.
I can't remember the exact moment it was. It was a race anyway. Might have been short price. He goes, thing is, everything was coming too easy for you, and you just like, it was on that golden run where those heads that I should have been beaten ahead, and they were just lobbing, you know.
Yeah.
And that you end up on those little runs, and he said you needed that, you know.
Yeah.
Reality check.
Reality check that you have to.
It's
start,
not that easy.
Nah. And it was such a little switch in my head where I was like, it's
Well,
so
you don't
true,
take things for granted, right?
100%.
You shouldn't take anything
100%.
for granted, really, especially in our game.
Not when you're on that golden run, because it comes to an end. Definitely does.
Exactly. Before we get really rolling with James and more tales of his great rides and how he got to where he is right now and Bossy's appreciation of him, AirTouch, got to mention them, Bossy, our great sponsors here at Who's the Boss, airtouch.net.au for all your self-control air conditioning needs. So you basically go out wherever you are and you can control it from where you are. Is it still cold in southeast Queensland, or is it hit summer yet?
We've had the worst weather. It's been like, now it's like spring again. So we've had cold temperatures up and down. And so the best part about it, my house is the same every time. Like I keep saying, it's 24 degrees all the time. So it doesn't matter what the temperature's doing outside. I walk in the house and it's perfect. So only AirTouch does that for you.
So thank you to AirTouch for your continued support, the continued support of Who's the Boss, and check them out at airtouch.net.au. Back to the chat with JMac. So when did riding become a viable option for you in life? Like, was it late teenage years, like from the age of 6? What was it?
When I wasn't probably enjoying school so much, and Mum actually was probably the driving force of it. She said if you start riding, you can have Wednesdays off school to come hunting with me, and hunting's quite big back home, and obviously we go hours away or hour away and go and jump fences and chase the hounds, and so that was really the turning point of where I started riding. Sadly, is because I wanted a Wednesday off school, but my whole family's into dairy farming, or most of them are, and I was a mad dairy farmer. I used to spend all weekends at my uncle's and just playing around on the farm. So I thought, how am I going to afford a dairy farm? And this was going to be the easiest way. Yeah. But now that dairy farm idea's gone out the window.
Yeah, it's probably fair enough as well.
Bit hard to make
But that was not a bad start in life, isn't it? Go and hunt.
For sure.
When did you feel comfortable on a horse? Like, was it instant, or was it a slow burn? Or
it's a good question, actually. I stuck to them really well, but I was never really good, like naturally. I had to work at it a lot, and to be fair, my parents gave me some beautiful like ponies to learn to ride on, and once I started hunting for 2 years, I ended up. Mum and Dad bought me an unbroken horse, and Dad broke it in, and then I got it going. We used to flick them on. Yeah. So I had a better Mum and I had about a team of 4 or 5, 6 ponies at each time, and we used to sell them all the time. Show jumping was a huge thing when I was about 10 to 14, and I had 2 Grand Prix ponies that competed at a extremely high level, and I brought them up through the grades as well. So once I got rolling, obviously I had every opportunity with coaches and everything, and that. But my show jumping days, halfway through I thought, I'm not going to be a jockey, I'm going to be a show jumper because of the 2 horses I had. Kamikaze was unbelievable, and Dipped in Silver were my 2 best horses.
Like nearly Olympic standard.
Not in horses, but in ponies scenario,
okay, right.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, especially my Dipped in Silver was class. He actually just passed away just recently, but amazing ponies. But they gave me the grounding to be a horseman.
Yeah, that's the thing. You learn all your skills.
100%.
When you say skills, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, you just understand the animal. This is like I've said on many occasions, I was never a great jockey, but I was a very good horseman. I grew up with them. I rode from I was 4 years old. Similar,
Understand them.
went through the show jumping thing and the pony clubs, and we learnt the anatomy of a horse. We had to learn everything about a horse. So you kind of instinctively know them more than anyone else.
There's more ways than making a horse run or move a horse than just steering. The leg movement these horses react to, you feel in your hands.
And
like
it's how you approach them mentally.
It is amazing. So like dressage and show jumping is so essential for learning all that kind of stuff.
So for someone like me who is never going to subject to a horse being under me like willingly, it's just not fair on the horse, particularly if I can continue to eat the way I do. But like who sits there on a Saturday and goes, oh, what a steer, oh, what a ride that was, or what the bloody hell did you do that for? But we don't. We'll never be able to comprehend what is going on between you and horse underneath you. What is the one thing that, say, the average punter doesn't quite understand that kind of defines that relationship between rider and horse?
Well, it's the 1%ers. Like it's easy to hop on a horse and a good horse and steer it around because they're going to do everything pretty well. But it's those ones aren't so talented and they need all the help they can get, and that's just steering a horse around a corner is not the 9 times out of 10 you'll get round, but it's the commands through a left leg or like a little twitch with the hands to if one's hanging or not reacting to the bit so much, and obviously swapping the whip to left to right. There's so many elements to it now that the 1%ers can get a horse to win.
And it's finding out. It's you'll get on many horses that you've never been on before. It's by the time you get on their backs in the enclosure, by the time you get the barriers, you virtually know their history. You know exactly what that horse needs at the right time. And that's been part of a horseman. You figured out what that animal, if he needs to be like stood over or it needs to be cuddled, how do I get the best out of this horse? And we have virtually 5 minutes to work that out. And by the time we get barriers, I know exactly what that horse wants. And that's the 1%ers as well. The
dressage riders and the show jumpers and the eventing riders, they're better riders than jockeys. Yeah. They're more talented.
Well, any rider that can do what the dressage guys do.
Incredible.
Oh, my God.
Get a horse to rap dance, basically.
100%.
Come on.
Yeah. Through only leg movement and a bit of a twitch of the twitch of the rein. But they're incredible. But so that's essential of growing up. And I think it's very detrimental to, obviously,
how If I was to ask you one question, James, and I don't want you to... what do you think is the thing that separates you from everyone else? I mean, this is a complex question.
I don't know. We're all competitive. We all try, but I've had a lot of luck of getting on the right horses at the right time. I have a funny knack of doing that.
No, that's not luck.
I'm very passionate. I love what I do, and it's definitely never been a job for me, and I've never done it to. Obviously, the prize money's great and a great lifestyle, but I've never gone there to obviously make money or, I've enjoyed success. I enjoyed the prestige of a VRC Derby, the history of it. I respect that. but any race is pretty cool to me, and I've never really lost that since I was 15. I've used to travel everywhere, and I used to obviously just enjoy racing and enjoy competing, which is, I think, the biggest thing. And people probably compete for the different reasons or wrong reasons sometimes, but I've just enjoyed the success of it.
Yeah, I think we had a conversation. We had a conversation years ago. I remember that, you know how I used to celebrate, and we sat down. I said, mate, you got to really celebrate these wins. Give the crowd, just give them everything. I think. Do you remember that conversation? Like I said, you just treat this like, oh, this is the moment, and you got to give the crowd. This is how much you enjoy these moments, and you've kind of really blossomed into that role because you have become a role model for so many people. So when you win, you can just see the absolute joy that comes out in you. Yeah,
for sure. I think it definitely has involved, I suppose. I got shut down over Danny Shum. Danny Shum said, "I don't want you to celebrate on Romantic Warrior anymore because it's very dangerous, very dangerous. And you could lose the race for me, you know." So now I've reined it back in, but
only on him though.
Oh no, I have definitely reined it back overall. I thought maybe he's right, but
the Melbourne Cup one's a good one. That's a great photo.
That's the most special. I've got the most beautiful painting of that. I think that was. Well, it was never rehearsed. Never thought I was going to ever win a Melbourne Cup, and for that to happen, so special. And that, I don't know. I have kids come up to me and go like that.
How good?
It's really
he
really
stole
special.
off me. I did on Mackay.
Only for Melbourne Cups.
Yeah.
But remember, that was a great moment in my life. That moment, I can tell you, Devolve. It was such a big thing for me just to watch him win his first Melbourne Cup. But we were in the rooms and we are both lying on the bed, you know, before we go out to get announced to go back onto the horses out in the enclosure. And I looked up at the board and she's like 15, 16 to 1.
Ridiculous.
Very elegant. And I said, James, you know this will win the Melbourne Cup? And he said, what? I said, wait, this is a weight for age race this year.
You were riding in the race?
Yeah. I was riding a 51 shot. I said, she is the only weight for age horse in this race. There was his up-and-comer, Incentivize. He was weighted out of the race. He was completely, he showed a 52 or 53. He had 56 and a half. She had 58. Is that 57? 57.
Yeah.
He had 56 something. I said, she's the only, and I said, it'll be winning. And he went, seriously? I said, mate, it will be winning. She won by 4, guy. And you give her the best steer of all time.
Oh, it's just stars align.
But like, just have that moment together and say, you know what, I think it'll win. And it went out and executed. It was a great moment.
Yeah, it was very, very special.
God, she's a special man.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and it's just timing, everything.
Should have won the year before.
She should have won
a Cox Plate.
100%.
You know, like she was a
when
you go down and talk about the greats, she
100%.
is up there with the top 2-3% of the greats.
Yeah, 100%.
So you won 9 Group 1s. She's given you your most Group 1 wins.
Yeah,
very elegant.
And you know, like if she did things properly, she probably could have won 12. You know, on a, you know,
she was a bit of a quirky one, wasn't she?
She was just
relentless. Against you all the time, wasn't she?
Relentless. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Just wanted to fight with you every time, but she got better. But the funniest thing, and
I've met women like that.
The funniest thing, the only race where she was dead set perfect was that cup.
Really?
And it was like the stars aligned. Like it was like driving a remote control car.
Was there a crowd there that day?
Yes, there was, but
minimal.
Yeah, 10,000, I think.
Yeah.
So half or whatever it was. But yeah, one of my greatest days on a racetrack for sure. And she was special, but she gave us a hard time. Track work, race day, didn't matter. She was hard work.
I think it was her. She was too competitive.
She was, yeah.
That was her biggest downfall early on. She was just too competitive. She wanted to win everything, and at any didn't know where she was going with it. With her, you know, she had no control over her body.
Did she have a good sidestep?
She was this thin the whole time. She never really blossomed into a big mare like a Via Sistina or anything like that. But gee, she had a motor and she was tough, incredibly tough. Probably the toughest.
Your question to James earlier about, you know, what characterises why it sets him apart at the moment. Can you answer that one? What you see about how he does it? Maybe a technical detail?
Yeah, that answer has about. It's quite a complex. The answer to that question is quite complex, but it's okay. This is what it is. incredible timing, incredible balance, unbelievable awareness of where he is and where everyone else is around him. He's like one of those great athletes that come along every probably 2 or 3 decades where when they look like they've got so much time, and, you know, when I'm talking about great athletes right now, when they get the ball or when they do something, they look like they're going slower than everyone else because what they do, they see things so clear and they process things so quickly, their body is just reacting to what their brain is saying, so they have time. They look like they've got time. You never see James in a tricky situation. You never see him checking for runs. You never see him panic. So that's what I mean. He has this awareness of where he is, and especially in the big moments.
Doesn't always work out.
No, but like it works out more than often.
9 times out of 10.
So it's no secret that he's so good, and it's just this amazing calmness, and especially in the bigger moments. It kind of just all sorts of works out where other people try and force issues or they try and make things happen. It just happens for him. So that's what I see.
How do you put yourself in that position though? I'm guessing you just don't wake up at 10:30 every morning, go to the races, and it just happens.
No.
Like, what's your process to do that? Because life gets complex when other things come into play.
Yeah.
2 kids, 2 young kids, a few things going on at home, obviously. So.
No, I've been really lucky. Nothing's really changed in that aspect, I suppose, because my preparation's still very, very similar to when I was, had all the time in the world. But Caitlin's unbelievable with that because she understands it, and she knows like the level I like to compete at and the drive I have with it, and the way I attacked every meeting is pretty similar. And that's something I'm really proud of as well, like to maintain a certain level, whether it's, riding midweek or romantic warrior or something like that. But she understands it and controls everything at home pretty well. But yeah, my preparations, I'm a very structured person. I'm never late, and I like being comfortable, being prepared. If I'm not prepared, that's when I get a little bit, anxious and not knowing what to do. So I could run through a race 10 times and know exactly I work out where it can go wrong. And if that position happens, I want to know and preparing to know how to get out of it pretty quickly. Because it's all easy just to lob in 1-1 or 2 pairs back and blend down the middle or whatever. But it's the scenario where if something happens, and if that happens, I'm already prepared to get out of it.
So you'll do a stack of form on that? You'll ride on a Saturday and do video? Or
I do a fair bit of form, but I don't get tied up into it too much. I try and let it flow the best I can, but I'm just prepared if something happens. And that's where I'm more, instead of doing so much work into like, I need to be there and I need that person to be there. Well, it never works out like that. So I just let it go, and then I'll work out who can muck me up, and I'll work out the scenario where I can.
And and what you do pretty well is, like I did, like if you do what is correct by your individual mount, like what's its best asset and all that, you ride it to its best asset all the time. You don't try and mess too much with that, do you?
Not really, unless it's unless we're on or it's a scenario where it's a via or someone or a romantic where you can get out of it, or you just do what needs to be done and move on. But I try and ride every horse to not like they've got lengths on them. I try and, even a romantic, you just put them there and try and get the best you
can. Make it uncomplicated.
Make it very uncomplicated and keep things very, very simple, because it's easier to get beat in your own head than it is actually out there.
So how did that come about, Romantic Warrior? Because now you've got this great affiliation with him. You're riding him everywhere. Yeah.
Incredible story, and I think he's the one that's probably a defining horses throughout people's career. He's one. Done Deal was another. At the timing is just so impeccable. Like it was incredible, and I'd landed on my feet with Romantic due to the fact that unfortunately Karis had an injury, and I ended up riding him in the lead up. I had a 2 race booking. Karis was getting back on him, and I won the lead up on him, won the Hong Kong Cup on him, and then Karis got back on him for 2 or 3 starts, and he went second, and then I ended up back on him and won. And then Zach managed to weasel his way on and run second on him.
Zach Burton.
Zach Burton, and as he does up there, but and then I've said that come back to me. So now we've got this amazing relationship where we've just had the ride of our life. All hasn't been smooth sailing. Got beat on him in Dubai, got beat on him in Saudi, and in Melbourne, but all the rest have been just unbelievable.
Saudi, weren't we? Like, because I went over there and rode on the dirt track the year before, 2 years earlier, and JMac was calling me, "What about this track?" And I said, "It's for a sand dirt track. It's probably one of the quickest tracks you'll probably ride on." Did you find that it was one of the best dirt tracks I'd ever seen and ridden on?
It wasn't harsh.
No, so I thought
adapt,
a turf horse will probably appreciate this track because it's not a slugging, deep, heavy kind of track. It's pretty quick. Geez, he was good there.
Phenomenal.
He was unbelievable.
No, it was the greatest experience in terms of a riding experience that I've ever had. Is how do you put it nicely? So I had 4 rides before it in the Jockeys Challenge, and they're slow horses. They're terrible, they get out and gas, and they just go 100 mile an hour from start to finish, and it's hard to make up ground on dirt tracks.
On shitters.
On bad horses.
On shitters.
But
I rode them there.
Yeah,
common term for
they're
them.
bad, and they're full fields. They go fast, and the first 3 round the bend always they always fight out the finish. But Romantic, because he's an absolute weapon, he went from curled up at the 800 to just accelerating on this dirt track there. He felt like turf, and so it was probably the greatest experience in terms of learning from. You don't ride a fast horse like a slow horse, if that makes sense.
No. Well, that's when they talk about, when they talk about, the track's got track biased. The first 3 or 4 races or any great race meeting, they're the shitters, right? They're the benchmark horses. Now I was like, it's a track bias. I said, you wait till the good horses come out here. There's no track bias when good horses come out. And that happens all the time.
Yeah. And I thought that the Japanese jockey rode a fantastic race. I actually, like doing your homework, I thought he'd be just beside me or outside me or just behind me. And he rode it like a proper good thing and banged it straight there. So he was always like a step in front of me the whole way. But yeah, it was, you just don't ride good horses like shit horses.
Yeah, but you got that race, for those who haven't seen it, have a look at it.
Yeah,
400, you are absolutely jogging. Oh, it looks like you're jogging. You're flying, but you're unmoved.
100%.
You've kicked clear, and this thing just has sustained its run outside. And he's like, how do you look back on that? Do you forget it happened, or do you go back and learn from it?
It feels like yesterday. Like I can feel what I was like at the 400. Like I can feel that moment, and it's a credit to that. Like it's the best dirt horse in the world.
Yes,
forever young, or one of the best. Probably the Derby winner this year was now probably the best, but he is up there with the best. And for Romantic to run as well as he did, not knowing the scenarios as well, whether he would enjoy the kickback, whether he'd like the dirt. Now we'd know all that. You'd be confident taking him on again and beating him, because Romantic enjoyed the dirt and he didn't mind the kickback as much, like that. There were 2 scenarios we're going into that race where those were 50-50. And he worked like a good horse. The race planned out okay. and he hit the front, and he sustained an unbelievable. It was probably one of his greatest performances, and he's won 3 Hong Kong Cups. He's won in Dubai. He's won a Cox Plate, and I reckon that was one of his greatest.
He's got rolled by a better one.
Well,
on
it
the
just
night.
showed his fighting qualities. Like he just went down absolutely having a proper dig, didn't he?
Yeah, mate, it was.
Mate, there was when you went across the line, you could see the sweat running off him. Like he expelled himself, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But the greatest thing about that horse, there's no bottom to him. He went past the line. He passed Forever Young 100 metres past the line. Ears pricked and was last to pull up. Like, it says so much about that competitor, you know, and that partner, because he went down fighting for you, yeah.
And Bossy, were you at breakfast with the best or breakfast with the stars at Moonee Valley a few days before the Cox Plate last year? Were you down there for Ladbrokes, or
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember what happened with this guy? And well,
Someone was trying to kill me.
when you look back on it, you might think now that with those track work sessions, maybe you don't need your jockey.
No, you don't.
You jockeys with that, because you
Trainers
just
are irrelevant.
sent Via Sistina around three laps, flat out,
happened-
and look what happens.
So the bandage got loose and
Yeah.
she tripped, and obviously JMac fell off. She went for a couple of laps. The first lap was just like, she just was, what, mate, what's going on here? There's no one on my back. So she went cruisy.
Yeah.
And like, you know what, when athletes, we're talking horses, when they're at the peak of their powers, like as fit as you can get them, you can't hurt these animals. So everyone it was a big ruckus, and I went and seen JMac and Chris, we had in the hut. I said, it'll be winning Saturday. Like that won't hurt it. And we both agreed. It'd probably just give her a bit of a stimulation, you know, like, because that was just going to stimulate her. So what happened, all it did was Chris had to reprogram her week.
Yeah.
To suit what just happened.
Just lighten off on Thursday
Mate,
instead.
It didn't affect her. So she came in on the Saturday and just arguably one of the greatest Cox Plates wins we'll ever see.
Was it hard to put out of your mind, though, what happened, being dumped on the Tuesday?
Well, maybe just for
Mate,
the ego. But
After you hit the ground, you realise how much you're all right.
oh, yeah, once you're all right, you're sweet.
You're
but
sweet.
it just shows how good Chris Waller is too, to be fair,
Yeah.
because he did reprogram the week and he took her back, and it could have ended up a disaster. Imagine if he took her back on the Thursday and she just steamed round a lap with Chris Harwood on. Like, it could have really started backfiring, but he was confident and just giving her a quiet couple of days and then building back into it, and she was unbelievably good that day. But, yeah.
Amazing shot of you at the end of the straight
know.
there, just looking at her going, the hell just
Oh, I
happened?
know.
You know what?
I actually thought she broke her leg.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's the first, when she went down, when she, I thought she broke her leg, and then to see her gallop away, I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got to stop her, but she was just not stopping. It was phenomenal, really, like the whole theatre
Whole
of it.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Because Ladbrokes we did a story on him and Via, and it was kind of like you were all had the webcam on your head.
Yeah, it was.
So
Yeah.
it was just a
It
whole
was a
build-
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was just a whole week and the build up and to have that scenario, and you know it was amazing. Like I was down in the enclosure when she won, and to watch what she did in the space of 300 metres to the rest of that field, it was almost like it sucked the oxygen out of the whole place because everyone just went,
What's going
"What
on?
the did we just?" We were looking at each other going, "What did we just
pretty-
witness?" Because that
Pretty
was
amazing.
her acceleration at the end of that, on top of the ground. Her acceleration is unbelievable, isn't it?
She is very good. Yeah, she's got a great attribute. Like all the, well, I've ridden 5 prop horses, and she's
So,
got every attribute that.
Animo, Romantic Warrior,
Yeah, done
Done
deal.
deal.
Done Deal, and Very Elegant,
Yep.
and Via
Nature
Sistina.
Strip would
Oh,
probably
Nature
be-
Strip.
yeah,
Nature Strip.
Nature Strip,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
But then you could throw in probably
Oh,
Boys
come on.
Bubble now, you know, like
Yep.
the way he's
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Phenomenal horse, but they've all got the same attributes. They all have got a great turn of speed, and they've got a sustained gallop for 600 metres. They're just phenomenal horses.
So you've won 6 Group 1s on her. Do you reckon you can beat your mark that you've got on
Oh.
Very Elegant with 9? Or
Well, you never know. She looks unbelievably good at the moment. Like, I mean, she's a big frame girl, and I seen her at the stables on Tuesday, and she's furnished. I know it's
No, they do.
stupid.
Those
but
mares, they
it's
get
7
bigger,
years
stronger.
old. She's 7 years old.
That's
and
when they reach their peak.
she actually looks like she's got muscle mass now. So
Yikes.
Scary.
She already looked like that.
yeah, she was a
No.
beast. But look, she's got to come up against younger brigade now. Like, it's not going to be easy for her. And we got, obviously Chris has got 2 phenomenal fillies that are going to be
Yeah.
Lady Shenandoah.
and Autumn Glow. So and then you got Aliana there that when she gets to 2,000 metres, she'll be a force to be reckoned with being a 4-year-old mare. But Via's already done it. They've already got to come to her level. And Via's a very funny horse. The better the quality of the race, the better she'll go. So she's
Like,
a beauty.
Yeah.
Like your friend here.
Yeah.
who
Well,
did
the
it.
mares, you give me a good mare any day of the week because
Yeah.
when they get muscle mass, with muscle becomes more power, and with more power becomes more speed. If they're sound, they just continue on. They're just so competitive. But what about your other love, though, James? Like, which is something that not many touch on. You love breeding. You love the breeding. Like, you're so into his breeding,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
which not many people would know about.
No.
Tell us a bit about that.
No, I love it. I'm very passionate about it. I enjoy any horse that you probably flick up, I'd know what they're buying probably out of half the time. But a great passion for it. I've got 10 breeding rights in stallions, obviously the colts that I've ridden over the years. And I generally probably breed 6 to 7 a year.
Yeah.
So I've got
So is that
bit
per
of
year you get a booking? Or
Yeah.
That's pretty
If you're
good.
lucky enough, if you ride a good colt, Bossy knows all about it. But you have the option, obviously, to sell them. But I tend to mostly breed with them. And yeah, I've got not 100%, but I've got bits and bobs and several mares, and really enjoy the foals. Obviously, some years works out better than others, but that's the fun of it. But I've got some really nice horses, and obviously Switzerland and Home Affairs, Done Deal. They're obviously they're all coming through the ranks, so it's a bit of fun, just matching them up,
it's
buying
kind
them.
of it's kind of you're watching it from the inception. It's kind of you're watching a 3-year cycle.
Yeah, it's a long process.
It is a
for
long
sure,
process, but
yeah.
if you get it right, it's so fulfilling, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of luck in through the sales ring with the yearlings, and we just try and buy a nice mare and breed it to one of the colts we've ridden over the years, and it's a good incentive too. I think obviously riding a good colt's a special feeling, but they don't last long. Switzerland was a boom 3-year-old and gone to stud pretty quickly, so. Done Deal was probably retired a year too early, so you don't see them. Animo, I've got a beautiful colt by Animo, which I'm pretty excited about, and he was a special horse to me. So
So you put them all through the sales ring, or are you going to keep any?
They all have to go through the sales ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're allowed to ride them when they eventually find their
if
new
they
owner
find
and
new
come back?
owners, for sure. Yeah. Haven't managed to ride one. Oh yes, I tell a lie. Actually, I have ridden one. Virtuous Circle. I bred him.
Oh, yeah.
So he ran
that
second
cool,
in the
eh?
Derby.
Yeah.
And my mum's actually got a share in him, so
Ooh,
kept
pressure.
a share in him. Yeah, but he's not going so well now. But
So your mares, are they you bring them out from New Zealand? Or
no.
no.
They were originally. They were
Yeah.
when I didn't have as many breeding rights.
Yeah.
Noms to them. But now most of them are all over here, and they're obviously the expense of keeping them is obviously high
but
too.
when you've got the breeding right, that's the kicker,
Yeah, it is. So I think Jimmy's got Zoo Star, and you had Fastnet Rock. They're great fun to have, and that gives you that incentive to keep following
I
them. And obviously Animo was probably the specialist one. Like he was. I can't wait to see what he can do.
Oh, he was he has to make it as a stand. He was just such. He was the most handsome looking colt. He was like, so you think.
He's a big alpha male. Yeah.
Very similar animals.
Would you call him before the Cox played like a panther going around?
Well, they were very similar.
the mounting yard.
They're very dominant. They're very proud colts.
Yeah.
They very
Lion King.
showy.
Yeah.
And they know they're better. It's hard.
Yeah, he does.
People don't understand when you talk about horses. They actually know that they're the alpha male.
Yeah. He does. I went and seen him about a month ago, and he's strutting around Darley there. Like, he knows.
Like he owns the joint.
Yeah, he does, basically, yeah. But you talk about, like, sliding door moments. Like, you talk about horses that... Done Deal was the one that kicked me into Sydney. Animo was the one that gave me a confidence to ride horses like proper horses. And then Romantic come along at that after Animo. And half the reason I got the ride on Romantic was... Peter Lau, who was watching the Cox Plate win of Animo, said that's how I want my horse to be ridden, and I ended up getting the ride on Romantic Warriors like that way. So it's just funny how
Yeah.
certain horses are crucial to your career.
Outside racing, is there much? Family and racing?
Not
is
at the
there,
moment.
Is there much time for
Just
anything
try
else?
and
Or
get my sleep patterns back and play a bit of golf, but not very well. I've played a few times with Boss, but not very well. But I enjoy it, but just this year's been hectic. It's just been a nuts of a year, and so I haven't had much time to do much else, and I'm looking forward to a break now, so it'll be good.
absolutely.
Need a recharge.
Especially getting that bubble, Bossy, when things are going well.
You do, yep.
Don't know when to hop out of it, but you kind of need
You're
to.
spot on. You're in a bubble, and everything's just going, and you don't even have time to even enjoy
Appreciate
or
any-
reflect. Yeah,
that's
100%.
it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So in the last 4 years, so up until September 2021, there was 54 Group 1s for you. Since then, 65. So it's 119 all up. 15 Group 1s as we sit here right now for the season on Australian soil. You're going to break Ollie's record.
Well,
You're
no,
winning
I
left,
haven't
right,
got
and
there
centre.
yet.
You, in all probability, you will. You're riding winners left, right, and centre, even in your midweeks and everything. So, on behalf of every other jockey in Australia, when are you going to Hong Kong?
Not for a while.
For a while?
Not for a while. No, I might try something this year, but next season. But we'll just see how it all plays out. I got a few
Options.
irons in the fire in terms of what we can do. So we'll see what plays out. But I'm looking forward to next season after this break and seeing what we can do. But I got just riding work at like Chris's. The horses that are coming through is just pretty cool.
It's easy to get out of bed.
It's very easy.
It is. When you've got Via Sistina in the barn and you've got all these, it's a pleasure to get out of bed and go there and be part of that horse's journey. I mean, that's the fun part. Like
It is the fun part.
The process is the fun part. The 10% that we do at the end of it, which is the winning the big races, but it's the point of 80% that we do that no one else sees.
Yeah.
The process, that's the fun part.
When we're all asleep.
Finding a nice, you're finding a nice colt or a filly, and from the beginning, and you're just part of the process.
100%.
That's the fun, and then seeing what it becomes. So that's the joy when you win a good race on these horses, because you're part of that journey. But you got to be in love with the process.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
As soon as you fall out of love with the process, that's when you know you're finished.
It's funny when Animo was going around, like you cherish every moment that you sit on him, and it's, even in track work, that's probably where you enjoy you most of the time riding them. Race days, just 100 mile an hour, so you don't enjoy being part of a great horse like him. And when I was riding him at Angus Banks on a Tuesday, like that was my 15 minutes where I could actually enjoy him.
Appreciate them.
Appreciate them.
You do. You really appreciate them, because they're going to go out there on the weekend and they're going to give you everything they've got. And then you just go, oh, I love you because of what you're doing for me. And it's incredible.
Yeah.
Speaking of the weekend, let's now get to Bossy's best. So the final Group 1 of the season, the chance for our special guest today, James McDonald, to equal Miracle Mal's Australian record of 16 Group 1s on Australian soil in one season. Miracle was here. He wishes you well. He genuinely wishes you well.
He's a top man.
Well, does he, Bossy?
Yeah, he does.
He does.
He wishes everyone well. He's a beautiful human being.
He's a fantastic.
He's a
Love
legend.
him.
Funny man.
Yeah, and a big rap on you as well. Massive rap on JMac. But okay, let's find a winner, shall we?
Yeah, we will.
Are you tipping him on Firestorm to make it 16?
I don't think Firestorm can win from the barrier. I don't think she's got that much on him. He's going to have to pull one right out of his butt from barrier 19, JMac, which you can do. But I've got you running third. I've got Floozy to win from a decent barrier. Listen, it's won its last four, and it's sort of on the rise. Angelina James would be good for her to win a Group 1, right? Even though I think this is not a Group 1 race, to be very honest. So, Floozy to win from Grinzinga Bell. Timmy Clark absolutely had a great winter. He's riding so good, Clarky, isn't he?
Yeah.
Geez, his riding the Stradbroke was very good.
Spot on, wasn't it?
Oh, my God, it was perfect.
Smicko.
And I got you running third, mate, on Firestorm. I just think that Ali's too much for you.
That's right. I like that. I like being under.
I like giving him a stick in the ribs.
You like beating the underdog.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
favourite on a Waller horse. Yeah, right.
No, Bossy's underdog.
Chances from barrier 19 on Firestorm in the Group 1?
Yeah, like Bossy said, I reckon it's probably not a quality of a Group 1 race. So these mares are going to obviously get a great opportunity to win. And if we get my mare loves room, so that's one positive.
Well, you're going to find plenty of
Yeah.
them out there.
But she'll run really well. She's not a bad horse, but and an even race. Even race.
Anything else that you got on a Saturday at Eagle Farm that's
I've
worth
got 3
having a look at?
rides, all can win. And my next 2 are probably my best. Autumn Boy, beautiful horse, lovely colt. You'll probably see him really measure up in the autumn. He'll be Guineas type of horse. And Mare of Mount Buller for Bray. She should win, actually. She had no luck last week, and she's drawn barrier 2. She'll get a really good spot.
Excellent. Thank you for that valuable piece of
mate.
information. Or informations.
How good.
Before we go as well, I've got to mention the guys, Bossy, of course, from IPE Events, ipevents.com.au. Corporate experiences, well, not really corporate. Everyone has fun. It's just locking away a ticket. You get fed. You have a great time. You get along there, especially for the racing as well, Bossy. They do Origin. They do Lions Tour.
Yep.
They do Grand Prix and, of course, the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
Absolutely.
Around the corner.
Yep. And what about the Lions Tour? It'll be huge. So if you haven't got a ticket to the Lions Tour, because you should, get on the website IP Events and get in there and get a seat. You won't be disappointed.
And all 4 days of the Flemington Carnival, and you can go with the IPE Events, ipevents.com.au, to watch James McDonald ride another 23 winners at Flemington over those 4 days.
Who wins Origin?
Oh, how good will the game be?
Yeah, it will be good.
Oh,
New South Wales by about
Go
20.
New South Wales have got the greatest bet of all time, wouldn't it?
yeah, they
$1.40.
Who are you on? Like,
Unbelievable. I jump.
I like that.
If you're a
I
Kiwi, you
jump.
support Queensland.
That's
If you live
right.
in New South Wales, you
Jimmy
support-
Cass, he's a Queenslander.
yeah, of course he is.
Absolutely.
Where do you
all
live,
the Ki-
James?
All the Kiwis.
Where do you live?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah.
New South Wales.
I'm,
last time I
I'm
checked.
in New South Wales this year. Sure.
We've got a good guest next week to talk about Origin as well. Don't
Yeah, we
Bossy?
have
So
actually.
looking
Yes, this
forward
will
to
be
that.
very good.
But
Can't
James
wait.
McDonald, really appreciate it. At the end of a bloody long season, enjoy Eagle Farm on Saturday, and after that, enjoy the downtime, the chill out time, and recharge
Yeah.
before the spring.
Thanks, Eds.
Mate,
Cheers,
I can't
appreciate
wait
it. Thanks,
to
Bossy.
see you in the spring, mate. Have a good break, you and Caitlin.
Come back.
Beautiful girl,
Brilliant,
and I can't wait to see you do what you do in the spring.
Thanks, brother. Cheers,
brother.
mate.
James McDonald on Who's the Boss? Unreal. If you like our content, hit the like button somewhere down here.
And if you want to subscribe, right here.